folks, how you doing? RussellTrueResults303.com. Check out the website, Mind, Body, Spirit, Fitness, putting the healing back in health. If this video is helping you or this channel has helped you, please let somebody know that it's available, it's out there. Because if it's helping you, it's most likely going to help someone around you, right? So this video is going to be on why sometimes spirituality is not going to be enough. We're in this day and age now where nobody wants to be affiliated with a certain religion, Christianity, whatever the case may be. I'm going to stick with Christianity, Catholicism, because that's mine. That's what I relate to. But, so people just want to say, oh, I'm spiritual, I'm agnostic. I believe there's something there, but I don't know what it is. And that's fine. But this is the downfall. And I got this kind of from Father Robert Barron. Check him out, Catholic priest. But he talked about it a little bit, and I don't know if I'm stealing the exact thing from him. I listened to it a couple weeks back, and gave it a few weeks to kind of marinate in my mind, so I can come up with hopefully something that's authentic and my own. But so, what is this spirituality? It's connecting with the higher power. And I knew somebody who said one time they were exercising, yoga, whatever the case may be, and they said they saw this beautiful light aura thing, and I think they said their spirit. I can't remember the exact conversation. It's like a year and a half ago. But I think we've got to understand that, yes, you saw the spirit. For me, I interpret it as, well, maybe you've seen God. Because, right, you have this spirit, so you've got to realize that someone gave you that spirit. Or if you're kind of a new age, there's this ultimate mind or this ultimate place out in the universe where all knowledge exists, right? And you need to tap into it to become wiser, right? But we've got to understand, if there's this all-seeing consciousness out there, this all, whatever you want to call it, it's still a part of something greater, isn't it? I mean, that would be, if you're only tapping into a piece of it, you're not gaining vision of the whole thing, which to me the whole thing is God. So just some food for thought there. Yes, you're tapping into it, but you don't want to just tap into it and know what it knows. You want to understand it, the thing, the creator, right? So I think that's a little bit better of a description. Like I said, there's just been a lot of thoughts that's been rambling around in my brain. So I wanted to throw that out there. So why is this new age thing, this spirituality thing, kind of a downfall? And it is for that exact reason. Or it's the same concept of you're searching for it, so you're going to make it be whatever you want it to be, right? So you're really creating the God. When it's not about creating the God, it's about understanding God. And that's the unfortunate thing about spirituality, is you're creating the God instead of trying to understand God, because it's already there. You've got to understand it. And I think that's the downfall. It's, once again, you're just creating it. It's worshiping something man-made. It's still almost that pagan type atmosphere. So still, in my opinion, it's leading you down the wrong path, because now that's why this world is, what's right for me is right for me, and what's right for you can be completely different. And that's not the truth of the matter. There is such thing as wrong and right, no matter who the person is, right? We've got to be able to understand that. No matter who the person is, whether it's me, a female, black person, a white person, an Asian person, whatever, sometimes there are just truths that are truths no matter what. And sometimes that what works for me might not work for you. In that sense, what I believe is right and what you believe is right is a false concept. So now we can dive into biblical times, right? Jesus was born, they have the Magi or whoever it was following this star across the sky. And this is where I get this from Father Robert Barron. So it's following across the sky. So these were astrologers, men of the sky. They studied the sky. They weren't Jewish people. Right? They weren't believers in Judaism. Because if you think about it, because anybody who would have known Judaism and known the Old Testament knows that the king would be born in Bethlehem to a virgin, all these things, right? Because it's in the scriptures. But they said these people had to stop wherever. I can't remember where they stopped. Could have been Jerusalem or whatever. And they stopped and asked, where is this new king going to be born? And they told them, oh, in Bethlehem, right? So they actually had to go there and ask. So these weren't Jewish people, but they knew to follow the star. Something told them to follow this star. So you've got to take into consideration that these were most likely spiritual people, but somehow they still knew the Messiah was coming, had to stop and talk to the Jewish people. And then they said, oh, yeah, you need to go over here. And then they followed, and then they worshiped. And they gave him praise, and they brought him his gifts, right? So once again, it was the spiritual people being led by God to the Messiah. So I thought that was a very interesting concept, and it holds true to today. I think when I fell away from Catholicism and into that party lifestyle, the secular world, and then I decided to get fit, get into shape, start reading more, learning more. I fell into some Eastern philosophy type stuff, Buddhism. It was interesting, but ultimately it led me back to my roots, Catholicism, and Jesus, and God. And I think if you seriously take that spiritual path serious, then you will find that it will lead you to God, but you can't be closed-minded. You got to be open-minded. You've got to be willing to say, hey, this is the possibility, and start reading it, and don't hate it just because there are some bad Christians out there. And like I've always said, I'm a horrible example of it, of being a Christian, of being a good Catholic man. I'm just trying my best and sharing my journey with you. But don't let, that'd be like, what's that? How do they say it? That'd be like someone judging you because you hang out with a bad person. Just because you hang out with someone that might not be the greatest person doesn't mean you're a horrible person. You don't want people to judge you because of a person you might have hung out with. Maybe it was only one night and you hung out with that person. And all of a sudden somebody's going to think you're that type of person. Or just because you're making changes in your life and you're starting to grow and you're starting to learn doesn't mean you should judge. You don't want to be judged because of your past mistakes, right? So we can't judge the church that way either. Yes, the church has a bad history, a bad past, but we're moving forward and there are a lot of great things that the church is doing. I was listening to something the other day and I can't remember the gentleman. It was back in the day, in ancient times or whatever, maybe the 1500s, I don't know. Can't remember. It was just a talk I was listening to, and they said this guy was trying to convert his friend to Catholicism. And he said, well, I want to go to Rome first, and I want to see the people of Rome and how it's working over there. And he didn't want him to go because at the time everything was corrupt. The Pope was corrupt, cardinals, bishops, everything was corrupt in Rome. And he just said, no, just let me baptize you now, become a Christian, become a Catholic, everything's good. He said, no, I'm not going to do it until I go. So he left, came back a week or two later, and he said, okay, I'm ready to be baptized. Like then he goes, what? You want to be baptized? He's like, yeah, I want to be baptized. He said, I went there and I realized how corrupt the people are, the Christians are. And so this had to have been about the 1500s now that I'm about to say what I said, or, at least later on, 800s, 1000, the 1000th year or whatever. And he goes, yeah, because if something so corrupt is still around, then God has to be behind it. Because if this was a normal society, it would have already collapsed. So, I think that was a valuable lesson. Hopefully, I'll have to re-listen to that talk. Maybe I'll put it down here in the description box. I always say that. I always forget. But, so, just some food for thought on the spirituality, just being open to things, being able to, not be afraid to explore other areas of spirituality, religion, whatever you want to call it. Don't be afraid. Just like I said, every Christian should still read the Quran. I haven't done it yet. I'm working on it. I'm on some self-improvement books right now. Got 15 books I still need to read. But yeah, read the Quran. Read about Buddhism. Read about Taoism or whatever those other forms of Eastern religions are. Read them. Learn from them. It's valuable things. I've got a video on what is it? The kind of like the progression of religion or something along those lines. Check that one out. It kind of give you a little food for thought on that specific topic, on learning these other religions and how my opinion is God used these man-made religions to express himself in the fullness of Christianity. But of course, it's a biased opinion, but it gives you some food for thought. So once again, I hope this helped you on your spiritual journey, wherever you might be. Subscribe to the channel, share and like these videos.